Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today, we're just 24 hours away from Survivor Series War Games, and I am hyped for it. It is going to be a great show, and on today's show, we are going to be giving our predictions for the event. It's going to be a fun one. There's no doubt about that. But for a fun show, I need a fun panel, and I do have one today. Let's kick things off with the head of opinions here at Wrestling Republic. How are you, Anthony?
Doing all right. It's always fun when you get to Survivor Series because it is one of the most historic and eventful shows of the year. A lot of debuts, a lot of unbelievable moments, and with two War Games matches and the story build up, it should be a fun, unpredictable show.
No doubt about that. It is going to be a good one, that is for sure. DCX Warlord says War Games. People are very, very excited about those two War Games matches, and I am one of them. But also joining us today, we have Megan Ambers. How are you today, Megan?
I am doing good. Same sentiments as Anthony. Survivor Series has always been a monumental PLE for WWE, so I'm only expecting nothing but astronomical things to happen come tomorrow night.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It is a stacked card from the top to the bottom. We do have 5 matches, so I believe one more match than last year, if I'm not wrong, on that one. They are up to 5 matches for it. And let's kick things off by talking about the Women's War Games match, because we have Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and somebody who's to be confirmed but heavily teased to be Bayley, going up against Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. I mean, there's an insane amount of talent in this match. There truly, truly is. Of course, we know Rhea Ripley made a shock return from injury in order to make it back in time for this match. And it has felt a little rushed, this match, I would say, in the build-up for it. But now we are sure it makes sense, and I am hyped for it. But Anthony, I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to send this one to you first. Who are you predicting will get the win?
This is tough because the War Games matches, both the men's and women's, I've kind of gone back and forth because I could see it going either way. For this one, though, and I'm not super confident in either War Game prediction. I will make that perfectly clear up front. I think, weirdly, I do think the heel team is going to come out on top. I think Nia's team is going to come out on top, only because I think it is more of a cohesive unit as opposed to the babyface team, because the babyface team to me is just a collection of 5 individuals that are just kind of getting thrown together, and they've sort of teased whether or not they don't trust Bayley, and Bianca and Rhea kind of had a little standoff there. I kind of feel like the miscommunication's going to cost the babyface team the match.
I could well see that being the case, Anthony. In fact, I'm just going to go right ahead out of the gates and agree with you, right? Because they've teased a lot of, tensions on the heel team in recent weeks too, with Tiffany Stratton potentially cashing in on either Liv Morgan or on Nia Jax. But while they're teasing a lot of backstabbing there, I agree with you. I think the actual backstabbing is going to be on the face team, because I think we could see shades of Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox from a few years ago in NXT, and I think Bayley's going to turn heel in this match once again. I think Bayley is actually the one who took out Jade Cargill, and I think we are going to find that out when she takes out Bianca Belair or somebody tomorrow night at War Games. So I am predicting the heel team as well. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Considering the people that are in there, couldn't Tiffany cash in on either women's champion in that match?
She could. Would she have the briefcase though in there? Maybe she has it in the shot in the cage beforehand and she runs down with it. Maybe.
All you need is the contract. You don't actually need the briefcase.
That's true. But would that not cancel out the match at that point?
I mean, listen. I'm just saying, whether it's before or after the match, if somehow the heel team loses, she could, in theory, cash in if that goes the case.
I genuinely wonder if you can cash in during a match without the match being cancelled. Like, is that a possibility? We've never seen anything like it before.
That's what I'm saying. It's just so wild, and both women's champions are both in there. It is something insane that they could totally do because they are crazy like that.
They are, and professional wrestling is crazy, and I would love to see it. Kafka's K says Nia will pin Bianca. DCX Warlord says Team Rhea. And D6 Warlord thinks it's actually Bianca Belair who took out Jade Cargill. I mean, that would be fascinating. That is for sure. But what about you, Megan? Who do you predict will win this year's Women's War Games?
You know, unfortunately, I have to agree with you, gentlemen. I think Naya's team is probably going to take that win. Of course, we still have the element of who attacked Jade, therefore took her out of War Games. Um, I have to say I do believe that it could have been Bianca. I don't know. Bianca has been giving Bailey hell, and that's because Bailey has been giving her hell. Bailey by the rights of damage control, but Bianca seemed a little too forgiving to Bailey last week. I don't know. Not last week, on Monday. It just seems like she was quick to be okay with Bailey being on the team. Now, for all we know, them two could have worked together. Um, but I definitely can see Naya's team winning, even though it's not something I would like to see.
Absolutely, yeah. So we all agree on that one. Universally, the heels are going to win. DCX Warlord says Seth Rollins cashed in at WrestleMania and the match didn't end. That is true, but at the same time, I mean, he was then added to the match. It became a triple threat.
A triple threat, yeah. That's a different thing. As far as the who attacked Jade thing, not the going on a side thing. I could totally see it being Bianca being the heel turn because it would correspond with the Street Profits turning heel, and whether or
Yeah.
not they put them together and try to make that a thing. Obviously, Lash has issues with Jade, with the NXT thing. If they want to do another shock thing, I wouldn't go Bailey again. You just had her as a heel. Like I think it's a little too soon to turn her back to a heel. But Bianca, I think, would make a lot of sense only because I think everyone expected Jade to turn on Bianca. I think everyone expected
Yeah.
Jade to be the heel.
I
So
don't-
Bianca turning heel would be of shock value. Like, why would you turn on
Yeah,
your tag partner? Your
absolutely.
tag champs together. Like, they could play on that type of stuff.
But when you think about it, this is wash and repeat because we've seen this with Trick and Carmelo. We've seen this with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So, it's always when you get mysteriously attacked in a parking lot, it's usually by the person closest to you. But
Yep.
I do think it's interesting that Naya is kind of pushing the blame on Naomi of all people.
Yeah.
Like she is really pushing the eyes on Naomi. And I think there's something, it could be just banter, online banter, but I do think, might have to look at Naomi a little bit. Maybe she feels a little less of the top, the big three. Maybe she feels like all eyes is on Bianca and Jade, and she probably knew she couldn't take out Bianca, so therefore,
You know what?
I'd like that.
That's actually an interesting twist because you can kind of phrase this in a way of Naomi came back to the company and she could make the argument she did not get the recognition that Jay got from coming in. That she should have gotten that big pomp and circumstance of, oh, who's going to sign her, all that stuff.
right.
She could totally do that. I think Naomi could totally pull that off if that's the direction they go.
And really briefly, I just wanted to say, it would kind of make sense because with the point that you made about Bianca turning heel and with the Street Profits,
Hmm.
we still feel like there's something going on between Paul Heyman, the little wink that he gave Jimmy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like they could possibly turn on Roman, which will make them heels, and Naomi can slide right on in with the heel
Mm.
look right along with her husband. So yeah, there's multiple ways that this can play out and make sense.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And it's exciting too. We've never actually seen Naomi. Yeah, we've never remote. I don't even have we ever even seen Naomi as a heel, or am I just forgetting something here?
No, I think it's always been the glow, and even during
Yeah,
her TNA run, she was a babyface.
Right.
yeah. I think when she first came into the company, she was
With the
maybe
Funkadactyls.
yeah. After that, wasn't I swear very briefly she was like a little bit of a heel, but she's pretty much always been a baby face. So to see her in that heel role, that could be interesting. That's for sure. Kobe Galanzowski says Team Bad. Yeah,
Oh
that's the one
yeah,
time she was a heel.
yeah.
That's right. But outside
We,
of that,
the irony of that, we're like, well, we can't remember when she was a heel. It's literally the name of the team.
that's true. We got quite a few more comments here. Kavke's case says Bianca has to be the heel in this match because babyface Belair would have too much crowd support. Where Jade needs the crowd to break through and have a WrestleMania singles win. Yeah, in a match between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I don't know, actually. I think Jade's a fantastic heel, too. I wouldn't have minded BJ turning.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if they turn Bianca heel on her, it's because they want to do the shock value. Because I think everyone expected Jade to be the one. Oh, her ego. She took her out. I think
Right.
Bianca would be the shock value.
Yeah,
And it probably will
certainly would be a good
feed
one.
into the story that former WWE employee Coachman had pushed out about them two not getting along backstage. I still feel like that was information that was pushed out that probably,
Yeah.
help fill in the storyline. So that could definitely feed into it as well. The
You
timing.
you mean they're working the dirt sheets?
How
I mean,
Oof.
dare they?
it's a very Paul thing to do,
It is.
isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I love not knowing.
I do as
That
well.
that's the in the age of all this information easily accessible, and as much as I want to know, I really don't. I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see him definitely looking at it.
Mhm.
You want information, you want to tell the fans, well, we are going to control what it is that you tell them. And you
Mhm.
will never know if it's true or not until we're ready to reveal it to you guys.
That's
And
why there's three
Yeah.
different stories on Jade's attack.
yeah,
I mean, if we want to talk about, for example, Rhea Ripley's injury a few weeks
Oh
ago,
yeah,
right?
another perfect example.
Three major dirt sheets, right? All said it was gonna be 6 months. She came back in
Mhm.
less
yeah,
than 6 weeks. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like it was crazy.
Oh, she's gonna
So they
miss
do.
Mania. They gotta change
yeah.
all their plans. Yeah, they gave her a mask. That's what the plans were changed. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I will. I mean, I do love it when they work the dirt sheet. That is for sure. Kobe saying Coachman's not a dirt sheet. Well,
Yeah, he
he's
is.
doing his best impression of one at this
He,
point in his
he,
career. He truly
he,
is.
he
Yeah.
doesn't work for the company. He's commentating on it, and he's giving backstage information. It's a dirt sheet.
Your source is playing you,
Yeah.
coach. I'm sorry. They are playing you.
Absolutely. He's been worked into a shoot when it comes to that one. But
Yeah.
now let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to give our quick fire predictions
Mhm.
for the rest of the Survivor Series card because it is a stacked one. And let's get things underway by talking about the Intercontinental Championship because it will be on the line. Not in a singles capacity, but in a triple threat because Bron Breakker will be defending against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. I mean, well, it's going to be a banger, isn't it? I'm really excited for this one. I genuinely think there's a small chance, but very much it's their chance that this does steal the show. But as for who will walk out the winner, I do think that it's possible the reason is a triple threats to get the title off Braun. I do think that's a possibility, but I'm not going to predict it. I am going to predict Braun Breaker will retain and walk out still Intercontinental Champion. Megan, I'll go to you first on this one. Who do you think will walk out with the IC title?
With all the talk between Gunther and Ludwig about being his own man and being 10 toes down and handling his business, I'm gonna give this to Ludwig.
Ooh.
He's the only one in the match who hasn't held gold as of yet, singles gold, and yeah, I feel like it's his time, and I could definitely seeing the great upset because people want Sheamus to get this title that he's never held, and I think it'll be Ludwig Kaiser for the win.
Wow. I mean, that would be a shock, no doubt about it. That would be one of the biggest shock title changes in quite some time, but I would love for it to happen. And perhaps then Sheamus wins it off Ludwig, who can do that story, and then eventually he can win that title. He can win that title, like you mentioned, that he's never won before. Anthony, what's your call?
I mean, this is the interesting part because the Sheamus thing they've teased multiple times of like, it's the only title he's never held. And I'm like, why do I have a feeling when they eventually give it to him, they're going to have him face Cena because that's the title Cena's never held either. But for this match, though, I do think it's going to be Braun. I think he's retaining on this one. I just, since they gave it back to him, are they going to really take it off of him again that quickly? It's just that's the only thing. Like because of the timing, could Ludwig eventually take it from him? Yeah, but I just don't think it would be that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, then again, his booking has been so strange to say the least since he's gotten to the main roster. It's been face turn, heel turn, face turn, heel turn, title win, title drop, title win. It's been very up and down, and he's been, he's been presented as a big deal. But it's almost like they don't want a Roman Reigns situation to happen where they push him too much too quickly. So they're just trying to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, listen, he was in NXT forever and a day. Like, I mean, how many WrestleMania seasons came and went, oh, he's going to be called up. He's April. He's called up. At least, what, 2 or 3 before he actually was. So I see future world champion, and like the sky's the limit for the guy. Like, he's too good of a talent to not make it, but are they holding him to make him a Paul Heyman client, or what are you doing with him right now? Because I kind of have a feeling they have something in mind, and we just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, they must have a long-term plan when it comes to Mr. Breaker. But Kafka's K is saying it should be a banger, but Braun will retain. Kobe is saying it can protect Sheamus if Braun pins Ludwig. That's true. Then you can run Sheamus and Braun Breaker back, like we saw a few weeks ago on Raw, but this time hopefully it'll get a proper ending down the line. I'd love to see that because their brief match a few weeks ago was very fun indeed. But that is not the only championship which will be on the line tomorrow night, because the United States Championship will also be on the line as LA Knight, defends against Shinsuke Nakamura. This Shinsuke Nakamura gimmick, I mean, I am absolutely loving it from what we have seen so far. He is being presented like a big deal. It is different, it is fresh, and every time I see him, I'm excited to see more of him. I think this gimmick could get over really, really well, maybe better than any other gimmick he has gotten over so far on the main roster. And I think there's only one way for that to happen, and that's for Nakamura to win the title. But I'm not going to predict it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see an LA Knight retain. Megan, what about you?
Yeah, I have to agree. I do not see them taking the title off of LA Knight. There's no real build, no real story. It seems like a last minute match between them. We haven't seen Sheamus. Excuse me, I'm still on that match. We have not seen Shinsuke Nakamura since his feud with Cody, and then he performed in Japan, and then we haven't heard from him at all. So maybe this is the title snatch that I am predicting, but I'm gonna go with LA. I think LA is going to retain.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one, but it's an interesting point you mentioned though too about it's pretty much every time we see Nakamura show up, it's for a title defense. and then title challenge, and then he disappears again. And it's like, how many times can they do this until he wins one? And that's why I actually really want him to win tomorrow night. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. I don't think he will. Anthony, what about you? What's your call?
I'm kind of along the same lines as you guys. That Shinsuke should win a belt, like with this whole thing, this whole assassin, the subtitles. I do like the look and the presentation of it, but like it's a kind of like a trope now where it's like, okay, we're going to pull him out so the champion can retain. I do think LA Knight retains tomorrow, but I would like to see Shinsuke take the title off him, because if I'm not mistaken, does he not have a match come January in Japan? And WWE would love to have that visual of him with the U.S. title maybe defending it elsewhere.
That would be fascinating. I hadn't even put that together, but yeah, that would actually 1000% be something which I would be on board with. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Maybe Saturday night's main event he wins it, because I do think they're going to go for splash stuff with the first major one, and it would make sense if he won it there. Then he could, in theory, defend it in Japan in beginning of January, whatever that show is.
Yeah, could well see that happening. Maybe tomorrow they do like a DQ or something. I hope they don't, but maybe they do, to just get some heat on Nakamura. He completely beats down LA Knight. LA Knight then challenges him to like an Extreme Rules match at the pay-per-view. Nakamura wins, then you can do that, because it is a great shout. That US title being defended in Japan would be fantastic, no doubt about it. A great promotion for the title, especially when their main competitor, AEW, is about to do a Forbidden Door basically show in Japan along with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So them getting their title in Japan too, it's not a bad idea at all. Kafka's case is LA Knight. Yeah. But I think that might be the first time we've not had an echo of the word "yeah" on the daily. But you can tell it's Clark's day off. But now let's move on. Let's move on to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship, because that will also be on the line, as Gunther will defend against Damian Priest. Now, for me, this is the most predictable match on this card. I can't see Gunther losing. I really can't. I think he's going to have a really long reign with this title. I think the earliest I could see him losing it is at WrestleMania, but that is only if he's going to face John Cena at WrestleMania, just to give John Cena, that record title win. But even then, a Gunther retain wouldn't surprise me. But I'm absolutely certain tomorrow night, Gunther will retain that World Heavyweight, that big gold belt. But what about you, Megan? What is your prediction?
This is another match, Ben, that me and you are on the same page on. I do think Gunther is going to walk away with the title, but it won't be a clean win. I think Finn and JD specifically is going to somehow interfere in that match and cause Damian Priest the title. So, yeah, I'm going with Gunther retaining.
A great shout, no doubt about it. And I do agree with you. I think it's unlikely it's going to be clean. And this entire storyline kind of has been that Gunther, he's kind of lost his confidence a little bit. And I think having him win not cleanly, and that the not clean part not even being in his hands, someone such as the Judgment Day getting involved, well, that actually could mean that the low confidence of Gunther could continue into his next match. You continue this story, albeit with a different opponent or whatever. So I do think I could well see that happening. But what about you, Anthony? What is your call on this one?
I definitely think it's Gunther. I think he's going to retain. I do think he's going to face Cena, by the way, with your side thing. I think he's going to face him at Mania. I don't think Cena's going to win. I would not be surprised if Cena doesn't win the other title. I wouldn't be surprised if he remains tied, his last match being for a title, and puts somebody over, because he doesn't need it. It's not necessary. I would like to see Sami Zayn take the title off of Gunther, because it would be an irony that he beat him both times, an unbeatable champion. It would be fitting.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Sami Zayn still hasn't had that, World Heavyweight Championship run, that WWE Championship run. That would be a big deal, no doubt about it. And yeah, and he was, I think, one of, if not the first people to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight title as well.
Yes.
So if in, a year from now they run it back once again and he's his first challenger and his final challenger for the belt, that would be some great foreshadowing as well. I'd love to see it.
And that's the thing that kind of annoys me, because I see that a lot of people like to give credit to Damian Priest for kind of shaking the foundation of Gunther, but it really was Sammy.
Yep.
It was
Yeah.
Sammy taking that title off of him. He never took Sammy seriously. He still don't. But the fact that he won fair, clean, I think it really broke something in him. And what I would see as a nice, fair, a nice little wrap up between Gunther and Ludwig would be for Ludwig to win a title and Gunther to lose a title on the same night. I feel like the powers between them two will switch, because right now I feel like the confidence that Gunther is losing, Ludwig is picking up. And that will be one way of solidifying it, by the ring general losing his title back to Damian Priest while Ludwig win his first singles title on the same night. And that will kind of change the dynamics between them two. Now, that's the way I would like to see it. Is it going to happen that way? No, because they're going to keep the title on him. But if it played out that way, I would thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, the one person that has disappeared from TV is Vinci. Does he play? If they brought him back, would he play any role in any of this? Would be a question, because he does have.
I mean, his
with
booking is a question to begin with.
Well, there is no booking. There is no question. It's non-existent.
I've never known a breakup of a tag team be so random and then just one of them just isn't used at all. Like, there wasn't even a blow-off match.
There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. There's no logical explanation. You're doing promo videos for this guy. You have him lose immediately, and then he just kind of disappears from TV. Like, there's got to be something here that no one's paying attention to because he's so below the radar and nobody cares, that no one's focusing on that. There's 3 different Jade reports, but there's not one missing persons report for Vinci.
Apparently, Vinci was on last week as a background character.
And who would know? He's like, where's Waldo?
What is happening? What unspeakable things did this man do? I mean, I have no idea. But who knows? Maybe it's a long-term story. I don't think it is, but we'll have to wait and see. Cav says, yeah, he was backstage on SmackDown last week with Melo, so maybe they're doing something there. Well, I think that was just because they needed somebody from Melo to talk to before they did the Cody thing. Bobby Petito says, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. I hope you did as well, Bobby.
Yeah.
Kobe saying the New Day and Imperium tag feud was too fun. And then they fed Imperium right to Finn and Damian. I don't know what happened. It's going to be a question I think we'll be wondering for many years until one day we find out. I think
somebody writes a tell-all book.
Yeah. Vinci or Kaiser releases a memoir, and then we'll
Vinci will be a co-host with Coach to tell us how things are so wrong behind the scenes.
Oh, God.
He'll just cut a pipe bomb.
He's going to run to the competitor. He's going to run to Tony and tell Tony everything. And Tony is going to come out and tell us everything.
Well, yeah.
All on AWTV, perhaps.
Well, I mean, he needs more people, because the people he does have under contract, there's multiple people that he's just not booking because they want to leave. Allegedly.
Well, one thing which is not alleged is the fact that we do have a hell of a match scheduled for tomorrow night, as we got the men's War Games match as the OG Bloodline plus CM Punk take on the new Bloodline, including Bronson Reed. This match I am so hyped for, and one of the best things about it is so hard to predict. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I thought for weeks and weeks and weeks Rhea Ripley's team was going to win the women's War Games match. Meanwhile, the new Bloodline would win the men's War Games match. But that all changed this past week on SmackDown when Paul Heyman returned with CM Punk. I cannot see a team of CM Punk and Roman Reigns both on it losing. I just cannot see that. So for me, I am going to predict the OG Bloodline plus CM Punk are going to get the win in this match. Then we'll go to the Rumble. We'll do Solo versus Roman Reigns. And then The Rock will come back at the Rumble and they'll, do something heading into Mania, probably with Cody. Well, almost definitely with Cody Rhodes as well. So I am predicting the OG Bloodline. Megan, I'll go to you first on this one. Who do you think will walk out the winner?
Yeah, definitely the OG bloodline, hands down. I guess the question is what's going to happen after the match. And I think that is when we are going to see a turn. I don't know. I mean, I've really enjoyed the face run of CM Punk. I have. So it's gonna be sad to see him turn heel. But right now, that is what Roman is. So if by chance Paul does leave Roman and go back to what I like to call his first wife, CM Punk, that is what's ultimately going to happen. CM Punk will turn heel. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely going with the OG bloodline. I'm on the same boat as you. There's no way possible that both a team with both Roman and CM Punk will lose. There's just no way. But
Yeah,
I
I mean,
also think Steph is gonna magically appear somehow to it. I think so. I mean, we passed a year seeing Steph's reaction to CM Punk coming back. CM Punk, he thanked everyone for 1 year. He used Steph's picture as a background for that Instagram post. Um, so yeah, I think Steph is going to find his way in that match some way or another. He's not going to let that night pass him by.
He literally might come in the match and just take out absolutely everybody because I mean he hates Bronson Reed, he hates Roman Reigns, he hates CM Punk, he hates them all. He's the biggest hater. But the one thing is about a CM Punk Roman Reigns feud, the reason I cannot actually see the heel turn happening, because I've been thinking about this too, is purely because I don't know if there's enough time before WrestleMania to do the feud. Because think about it, right? We got like what? A few months now, about 5 months to WrestleMania. But in that time, you obviously got to build the WrestleMania main event, which I'm guessing will be Rock, Cody, and Reigns. But you presumably also got to do the Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa singles match too. So I don't know if we'll be able to fit all that in with a CM Punk feud, although I would absolutely love to see it. A lot more than the solo match, if I'm being honest, as well.
Right. I just, I know that's like the ultimate end goal with the three of them in a match at WrestleMania, but I just don't know if it's going to fall as a triple threat. Now, if they split the match up between both nights, sure. But I just don't feel like Paul is as invested in Roman. And Roman hinted at that during his Sports Illustrated interview that there's something a little weird, a little wonky about Paul and the way he's been acting lately. So I just don't know if Paul is going to be on the straight and narrow. Now they could extend it and let it play out, but something is going to happen after that match.
Yeah, it could well be the case. Anthony, what about you? What is your prediction for the men's War Games?
I do want to say I have zero interest in seeing Roman against Solo at Mania. I have no interest in that whatsoever. Throw it on the Rumble, nobody cares. But in this, I've gone back and forth with this because there's so many different moving parts in this match. I had OG Bloodlining winning this, and in my heart, that's who should win. But I don't think it's going to be that way because there's the Seth factor, which it's very interesting that they released that 1 year Punk return video, and conveniently, the Seth footage was missing from it. There was no interaction with him and Seth backstage. They did not show any of that. And I could see Seth taking Punk out. So before he ever even gets in there. And it makes it look like, oh, okay, the OG Bloodline is down a man. That's when The Rock's music hits. And that's when he comes in and he takes Roman out. Disappears, then pops back up Saturday night's main event. Helps Kevin Owens win the world title. He now has an issue with 2 people. That's your Mania. That's how you get to your Mania, because there's already history with the 3 of them. The Seth Punk thing, there's natural heat there. You can play that up. You don't need much time to make that work. I don't know where that leaves everyone else, though. I don't know where that leaves the other participants in this, because you're really going to go. You're going to go Usos and Sammy against the other members of the Bloodline group. You could do that. I don't know where it leaves Bronson Reed, because if Seth eventually pairs off with Punk, I don't know where that leaves him. So that's the only part. I'm not sure where it goes from there. But the big moving parts, you got Seth, you got Rock as a possibility popping up in here. And that's the only reason why I'm like, I don't see the Heyman turn. I know you can go that route. You could do Heyman going with Punk. But I don't know if you want to go heel him and then do babyface Seth and going, I told you people all along. I don't know. I don't know if that's the direction you want to go with it either. Either way, I do think we're getting Seth Punk because we were supposed to get it at 40.
One thing I just want to clarify there. Did you say you think that the Kevin Owens will win the WWE Championship and the triple threat at Mania won't be for the title?
I don't think the title's needed for the
Wow.
triple threat. The names are too big. The names are too big, and you could build a world title match on its own. Why tie it into it? And it makes it more unpredictable, because if the world title's on the line, chances are most people are going to look at that going, The Rock's not going to win this.
Yeah, that's true.
The Rock could, in theory, win it if it's not for the title. And it gets Kevin Owens a decent run with the belt, too.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really get that the first time around, because a certain former WCW World Champion, Bill Goldberg, and Vince McMahon went, we got to go with Goldberg. And that's not a knock on Goldberg, but Kevin Owens' reign was cut incredibly short, and I don't think that was what Hunter had in mind for Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that Kevin Owens have another WWE Championship run. I can't see it happening like that. I do think the triple threat is going to be for the belt. I strongly do think that, though.
You want a major moment. You want a shock on Saturday night's main event. He hates Cody so much. He sides with Cody's most hated rival in The Rock. Not Roman, because KO has his own issues with Roman. If he sides with a mutual enemy of the two of them, The Rock would make the most sense. If he's going to side with anybody, it
would make sense. I just don't think they're going to do it. But I do agree. It makes a lot of sense.
He's got issues with Hunter for protecting Randy and Cody. Who was Hunter's biggest rival back in the day? The Rock. They could do that whole power struggle. They teased it at the press conference last year in Vegas. There are too many pieces that it would make sense. I'm not saying they would do it, but it would make sense.
It would make sense.
But then why tease the whole Cody and Randy? Even teasing that for months.
I think they'd eventually go to that, but I don't see them facing each other at Mania. That's the only
No, I don't
thing.
either. I see a triple threat for either a triple threat, or I think it's either going to be a triple threat or it's going to be some weird 2-night thing. I think a triple threat's the most likely.
I mean, that was the funny part. If Cody retained the title going in the Mania, my thought was Roman wins the Rumble. He challenges Cody, and The Rock pretty much does what he did last year, except he's now challenging Cody, and it ends up at the triple threat. You know what I mean? Fine, I'm not playing games. I'll take you both on. Like, I mean, they could do that. I would like to see Kevin Owens get a title reign, and I could see him getting it off of Cody because it would make sense. Because Cody doesn't really need the belt right now, and the Triple Threat does not need the title.
It doesn't, but they're
Sa-
always going to have the main event, especially I think under Triple H. I think the main event of WrestleMania is always going to be for that, that big championship. Because that as well was what Rock, Rock pointed at it. He did say, I'll come in for you regardless if you have it or not. He did say that, to be fair.
Rock and Cena, the first time around, was not for the title. Rock and Hogan
but Triple H,
was not for the title.
We know how important he thinks it is that, titles have prestige and all of that.
But you got 2
and
nights.
He even said in the days of NXT, he was unsure about putting Ciampa and Gargano ahead of the NXT title match.
It's the better story.
It is. I agree with you. It makes a lot of sense. I just don't think they'll do it.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's needed. I don't think the title is needed to make the match.
Definitely
to sell
isn't
the
needed.
match.
I agree. But I think that they'll do it anyway. I think maybe even the title needs it more than it. Well, it doesn't need the title, but maybe the title needs it in terms of it's a bad look for the title if you're not main event in the biggest show of the year.
I mean, if KO had the belt, you got him and Randy for the title. Randy's obviously chasing a record just like Cena is.
Yeah.
My thing is, if you do take the title off of Cody and put it on Kevin, how can Cody stay a face after that?
I think he stays a face through the Rock feud because you want Final Boss against Cody. I think he'll turn Homelander Cody for the feud with Randy. I think that's probably the more likely of scenarios.
I'd love that. Absolutely love it to see that. And you're right, Megan, that could be the catalyst for the change. And because he's in a feud then with Rock and Roman, maybe we do see more of a heel side to Cody, but it's not clear, especially if they go a Homelander route. He, at first, he might have actually turned heel, and we might not realize it for X amount of time until, we see him up against the babyface, such as Randy Orton. So it would make a lot of sense. I don't think they're going to do it this way, but it would make a lot of sense.
He could easily blame Randy going, I was distracted by you and Kevin. You distracted me. You guys cost me the title because my mind was on your nonsense. And there's a number of ways they can make this work. And WWE is in a very enviable position right now because multiple stories, they can go multiple different ways and they all would make sense and work. And that is a very enviable position because some companies don't even have one potential option to go to. They have multiples and they would all work.
Yeah. And this is the first time in a long while that WWE's had that option too. Like the last couple of years, it's been the first time in a long while that they've been in that luxurious position. We do have a few comments before we wrap up. KFK's saying Rock's not winning anyway. That's true, to be fair. We all know, I think Rock's probably not winning if they do a 3-way. But Kobe saying it's either Cody Rock or a 3-way. I mean, perhaps they do just do Cody Rock. I think he's got to be a triple threat at this point.
Yeah, I think it's
Kafka's K says it will be for the People's Championship. No, don't give them ideas, Kafka's K. No way can that belt main event.
In all fairness, if Cody does win and has that belt, if he goes Homelander holding that or some version of a, in his mind, a title, that could work.
No, you're right. No, you are right. That it would be. I'd be fuming at the time, but long term that could work.
If they do that, I'm definitely blaming Anthony for that.
Yeah, I've given them the idea, Anthony.
Doo-doo.
Hey, listen. Does that not help you more, Ben? That if
it
they
would
listen to me,
it would help
you
Cody
put that
get
online,
hated.
you go, Wrestling Republic, they stole their idea. You could have so much fun with this.
That'll be a YouTube video. Allison and Alice Triple H, you've stolen Anthony Ricciardi's idea. But I agree with Bobby. I'm looking forward to SmackDown tonight, and I'm also looking forward to tomorrow when we recap SmackDown, same time, same place. We hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Anthony and Megan for joining me here today. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Ba 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 ba.